a good Wednesday morning today. Welcome to the vlog today, YouTube. Basically, I'm starting way late. It's just past 5 p.m. So I'll probably go get some scooter clips and we'll see. It's pretty rainy out still and I got my report done. That was the big thing. As you can see, I just ordered a skateboard and some apparel and some other stuff there. So that should be coming here within the next week. That was my bit of incentive to get that school stuff done. The school stuff kind of fried me though. That was pretty crazy. Anyway, because I made some sort of sandwich and crazy shake here too, which I showed you. Let's get into the vlog for today. As for the vlog for yesterday, I'm still working on editing that. I kind of was working on school all morning, so that'll definitely be up a little bit late, probably 8 p.m. or something similar. So hopefully that wasn't too crazy there. Sorry to say, the shoes here are holding up pretty well. One minor issue though, the shoelaces are broken. As you can see, this one here snapped a little bit higher up, so I was able to tie that one off. This one, yesterday night, completely demolished. So I'm going to have to go and buy some new shoelaces for those. Other than that, they're holding up pretty well. Okay, back home, it is cold, muddy, and rainy. And I have this scooter here that the grip is looking pretty bad on. Let's try some dirt scooter clips. I don't think I've rode this dirt scooter in a little while. And now that it's all wet and waterlogged, it's a great time, right? Let's see what I can do here. Tail whip, heel whip, marksman. Feels a little bit of air. Pretty slow. There we go. 260. Okay. Try a wall plant double whip. First try. Got it. Pretty close. Got it, shooters. It's my opinion. Leave all my bullets. There we go. Let's go and finish up editing my vlog for yesterday, and I'll get back down to work. Okay, back in the office, and like I said, I didn't get my vlog edited earlier because I was working on school this morning and yesterday night. But anyway, there's the vlog edited. That should be up here pretty soon. It is already at 8 o'clock, so it's going to be up late. Anyway, let's figure out what these go for and list up the Sony camcorder service manuals and manual. Okay, so I got those two listed here. Here's the service manual for $32.99. And I listed the instruction manual there at $18.99. So that's super crazy, but they are worth selling. Anyway, I think I have two little adapters here. So I have a picture. I have this thing pictured, so I'll list this filter. And then hopefully I can get some new items in the office. Okay, there we go. 5 items listed. My office items are finished. Kind of funny, I was watching the Casey Neistat studio tour by Marquez Brownlee, however you pronounce his name there. I used to watch him when I was more into tech, but he had a really interesting thing on Casey Neistat. And then, of course, Casey Neistat, he is back again with the vlogs. Kind of interesting that I kind of started my vlog after he quit, and then it's whatever. But I don't know, I enjoy his style of vlogging. He really is quite a creative person. And I really find it interesting looking at his studio tour, how similar in the smallest sense my studio, or at least office kind of thing is. It's very complicated yet organized in my opinion. Just kind of funny how that all works. Anyway, like I said, done with that stuff. Let's get some new items in the office. Well, dealer said I might not like this stuff, but looking at it briefly here, this looks like some pretty interesting stuff. It's definitely in the oddball realm. Probably needs a little bit of cleaning, testing, whatever. But this stuff's pretty interesting. This is a Fujica little mini camera that's actually in the vertical format. I forget what types of film this thing took. Definitely mention that when I go through this stuff. All different types of various items, mostly oddball cameras. Let's get into listing those up. I think one of the interesting things I encountered when trying to test electronics and cameras on camera, and one thing just in general with the whole thing, is that these are very, I don't know, fiddly electronics. Anything vintage, there's always variables, there's always cameras you haven't tried before, so I'm really used to doing all this stuff just kind of on my own time, just rolling through it, encountering issues as they come. On camera, it's a little bit different, obviously, because I'm trying to keep up more of a expert persona, per se. So it's just kind of a little bit different thing. This camera right here is a Bauer C3 Super. This is probably from the 1970s, just a little mini Super 8 camera. And this uses 3 AA batteries, it looks like, which I'm going to have to see if the corrosion needs to be cleaned on there. I showed a little bit of corrosion. So let's get those in there and see if I can get this thing working. Okay, there you go. Battery change of my camera there because it was almost out. Let's grab a couple of batteries here and see if I can put this thing to the test. Those ones work. Battery polarity here briefly. And there you go. Heard a little click as I put it in. And it seems to be running. So that's a good sign. Anyway, the test I'll do on this, I'll look through the viewfinder. Definitely check the shutter seems to be working. Check the light meter, which a lot of these viewfinders are kind of interesting. First of all, they're pretty small, and secondly, to view them correctly, a lot of times you have to angle it up or down, otherwise you won't see much. Might just be me with glasses, you might be part of it. Either way, so I'll do a few different tests here, and I'll let you know. Well, I'm not entirely sure how the light meter on this camera works, but I can tell that the focusing here is a bit stiff, but works. Zoom is a bit stiff, but works. Lens has no haze or fungus in it. Needs a little bit of cleaning, so I'll do that. It's a Super 8 film camera, which is a cartridge type movie film. It just goes right in the back there. And all in all, this one seems to work reasonably. So I have to mention that the meter is untested because I don't know how to test it. A lot of cases, that's just how I do it. Next up are these Kodak 35 cameras. These are kind of confusing to me. I'm not entirely sure, and never have been, exactly how to fully test them. It's kind of a funny thing. So a lot of times I will actually sell these as untested. This is one of the rare cameras I'll do that, mainly because it's like a weird automatic system. I don't know, I could probably look it up and figure out how to get it to work, but I think there's a few different tricks to testing them. So I just look through the optics, I check that the optics are clean and clear, focusing works, rangefinder works, there's the viewfinder, and the second window, basically there's 2 windows on here. This is the viewfinder and that's the rangefinder. That one's the one you look through to test the focusing, which focusing on this camera is accomplished through this wheel right here, or you can turn this. Probably easier. The wheel is the coupling between the rangefinder and that. And when you move it, the image should align. This one, the rangefinder has minor separation in it, but otherwise seems to work correctly. So like I said, just test all the different functions there, look through the lens, make sure the lens has certain things, and then I'll just set up as shutter untested because I'm not quite good enough at figuring out how to get these shutters to work. At least in my experience. We don't come across them super often, and it doesn't seem to affect the value much. Most people want those for display. Next up, a little 1950s toy camera. I've seen this one is made exactly. Made in USA. Okay, this is a Federal flash, or Fed flash. Seems to have some optical issues and a few shutter issues. So it's not perfect shape. Somebody will buy this thing for display. Careful pulling around these cameras too much so you don't break the Bakelite that they're made out of, since they are a type of plastic. This one is just a pressure mount, which can be kind of nerve-wracking there, pulling really hard on a Bakelite piece like that. But when I opened up just fine. Looks to be a nice shape in there. Shutter does not work correctly. It works a couple times, but not that great. Federal made quite a few different products from what I know. They made like film developing tanks and a variety of different things. I haven't seen that many Federal Manufacturing Company cameras, so that's interesting. Up here so I can realign the hinge. It's a funky one, so I don't know. Some of these are rarer than others. They all have a collector's market. One should be pretty good. A lot of these cameras I'm testing in this round here, the Kodak 35, this one, these are not necessarily, or I should say, they probably are not going to be actually attempted to be used by somebody. That's a good sentence there, but anyway. Yeah, people are not going to try and use these cameras. For the most part, these are for parts or display. Mostly display. And then on to the next one here. This is a Fujifilm that I really don't know a lot about. We picked up 2 of these from a camera collector. Single 8 is what it says on there. So I'm pretty sure this is the thin format 8mm camera, and it actually takes photos, if I know what I'm talking about here. So we'll see. But anyway, either way, this is kind of a funky camera. Well, this camera seems interesting. I'm not actually entirely sure how it works in full, but it definitely seems to be an oddball one. This one's going to need a little bit more research. Figure it out. I don't think it's a movie camera. I think it's a single exposure, but it uses movie camera film. So that's an oddball one. I have the original lens cap to this one, and we have 2 of them in the original case. So that's actually a pretty cool setup. I'll let you know more on those once I figure it out myself. Next up, we have a Sankyo Super CM600. This is a Super 8 movie camera, same film as the other one I was talking about. There's a pretty nice lens on there. That's what these are known for. And some film directors and short films and all different types of people want that film look. They want the Super 8 look for their movies. And they'll invest in one of these vintage Super 8 cameras for a one-time use thing. That is a big part of the market, in my opinion, for why these sell. This one uses a 4AA battery magazine located in the grip. And let's see if I can find 4 working AA's and try it out. Well, out of the context there, it looks like 3 of them look pretty good, and that one there has some pretty bad corrosion. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera because I don't think it's picking it up very well. It's kind of blurry. So I'll probably just use a screwdriver, go in there and try to at least scratch that up just a little bit, and then try it for the first time to see if I can make any contact. Green corrosion like that, like white corrosion, can be cleaned with vinegar. That's basically the best option. Green corrosion, on the other hand, I'm not so sure. I don't think that'll clean off quite as easily. So anyway, let's try it out here. Hold them in the correct polarity and put this down in there. And there you go. We have power. Now you just have to test the focusing, which this one seems pretty smooth. The zoom, which let's see, it looks like this one should probably have a little zoom lever, but I don't see one, so I guess that's just how it is. Wow, by design. Compared to some I've seen, I should say. And then you have the focusing through the viewfinder here, which seems reasonable. And then the light meter, if I can figure out how that is. It's right here. Auto. Put up with the light, should go up, and put it down, it should go down. Seems to work correctly. To open the film compartment, you press this little thing here that says open. There you go. This is a Super 8 cartridge. Some of these you kind of need to trick them into working by putting a dummy cartridge in there, but in this case, that's not one of them. This has an auto zoom also. You can see it moving there. Oh, can't. You can see this moving there, that little screw. That has an auto zoom, so you gotta test that. It usually only will work while the camera's running. So, all in all, this camera seems to be in good shape. Okay, next up, let's open this case up. Oh, I see, this is the Perfex here. It is a Perfex Deluxe. These actually had a screw mount lens, if I can figure out how it comes off here. I forget exactly what thread these are in, but it's an oddball thread. And I won't take it all the way off here. Basically, it makes it easier to clean behind the lens. It had a very interesting rangefinder mechanism as well. It's kind of an odd camera of the 1940s, made in USA. A few different things to test here. First of all, take a look in the film compartment. It's pretty cool and chrome. It's very reminiscent of like an Argus brick. Just test the aperture on this and a few other things just to see if I can get it to work correctly. Aperture seems to work. Focusing seems to work. I'll test the rangefinder once I clean it. It does not seem clean enough to test. And then here's how you wind it. These are the slow speeds on this dial here, and then these are the faster speeds up here. And as is very common with vintage focal plane shutter cameras, this one does not work correctly. So you can see in bulb mode, which should, well, you hold down the shutter button, it should stay open, that should close. You do it, it just makes an instant exposure, and as you can see, the shutter curtain hangs at about that position. This will be sold for parts. It does still make some sort of movement, so it's not completely broken, and definitely a good camera for repair or for parts for somebody. Next up, we have another Kodak 35, this one with an interesting case, actually. This has a case with a big top on it there, as you can see, and what that is, it's a filter holder. So there are filters in there. This thing is not in the best of shape. Top part there is all, the zipper's all deteriorated and it's all kind of ripped off there. But anyway, like I said, it's another Kodak 35, so let's test that through. Same way as I tested the other one. And everything seems to check out on there. Seems to be in reasonable shape. In the original case, even though the case is in pretty worn shape. Okay, next up we have a Ballsy B. That's interesting. Ballsy 35 Model B. We find a lot of the B2s and a couple other variations there. This is the original, the B model. And these are very simple cameras. They came out in the 1950s. Very similar like a Kodak 35 or something similar to that. Focusing lever is here to the left of the camera, left front, or right front if you're looking at it from the front. So they test the aperture of that, and then it's just a very basic shutter test for these. Open the back here so you can get a better look at what the shutter's doing in there. This one does not work correctly. But still pretty cool camera nonetheless. Somebody will want that for display. Next up is an equally oddball one. Like I said, we got these from a camera collector, so these are some of his oddball pieces in his collection. This right here is a Vernon Model 18/28 little movie camera. It uses double 8mm film and a very compact form factor compared to some that you see. Let's see if I can figure out what types of batteries this takes and get those in there. Looks like just 4 normal AA batteries. There you go. You can see when inserted, it just starts going. It's on lock right now. So there you go. If I take it off lock, that should be operatable by push button. It's a very ergonomic handle, isn't it? It's like a big square with another big square and another one. It's really interesting, actually, some of these different camera designs that came out of all different ages. This one here is a very basic light meter, so I'll test that out quickly. Yeah, I'm going to have to say that the light meter does not work correctly. It works, but it's not a very well working light meter. Inexpensive design. Anyway, it's just kind of an oddball one for somebody's collection. Cameras like that, I doubt anybody's trying to use these anymore. Okay, let's see what this one is here. This is a Universal Roamer 1. This is made out of aluminum, actually. It has an aluminum body, which is kind of interesting. Compared to other cameras of the time. It's a leather case, so let's get it out of there. This is a folding camera. As you can see here, it does seem to have some rust on some of the parts, or corrosion. And it also doesn't seem to lock out very well. Which that happens with some of these. Push down to a certain point and then just kind of manually push in that little lock. It will lock open. There it is. This one's in very poor condition, so this will definitely be sold as display or parts, which I'm not sure exactly what somebody does with one of these, but somebody will pay for it. And the shutter actually seems to work. It has a very simple shutter in it. Yep, both work correctly. Basically, how I check the shutter on these, especially this one, which only has 2 speeds, bulb and instant. Okay, and now it seems to have stopped working. That's something very odd. I was just testing that. It seemed to work correctly for the first 2 shots. And after that, it pretty much stopped working. I guess it must have got seized up or stuck closed, and there you go, not worked for a second. So, definitely a sporadic at best shutter, and that's one thing you have to watch out for with vintage cameras. Some of them will, if you get returned, some of them are because of that. You can pass testing and still not work for the person if somebody's actually trying to use this thing daily. Another thing we'll check for in folding cameras, I forgot to mention, is you want to check for light in the bellows. So basically go and look into the bellows there, look into strong light, check for any light leaks or anything similar. Holes in the bellows are no good. Okay, coming to the end here, and this is another reason I was saying, I'm sure I'll edit all this stuff down, but this is definitely a bit of a scattered testing session because it's kind of trial and error. A lot of these cameras are ones that I really haven't dealt with a lot in the past, or very oddball pieces. Here's one right here. This is a Bolex 233 compact camera. This is kind of an oddball one. You can see there's the zoom mechanism there, and then there's focusing on the front, and a few other things here. Let's see if I can find the batteries and figure out what this takes. Uses Super 8 film, as common with a lot of these, and it uses 2 AA batteries. Looks like it has corrosion in it though, so probably not going to work. Let's try it out here. And the shutter button's broken too. So this is definitely a for display only. It was in this guy's collection for a reason. It's a collection camera, not quite a usable one. But oddball one nonetheless. Bolex made a lot of higher end cameras, and this is one of their forte into the compact market. I'm assuming it did not do that well. Okay, so this one here is kind of interesting, not in great shape, and reasonably common, so don't go for a lot. But this is a World's Fair camera. This is the World's Fair camera for 1964. And if you can see the little insignia there, pretty cool. Somebody will pay like 15 or 20 for that, but since it's not in that great shape, testing on these is very basic. Just check the shutter, check that opens. If you really want to be exhaustive, you can open the battery compartment with a quarter or similar coin and check for any corrosion in there. As you can see, that's really old, kind of grungy looking batteries in there. So I'll take those out of there. And I'll be testing for this one, I guess. So, not to mention, the listing on this one has corrosion in the flash compartment, and if you want to use that, probably won't work. So, that about complete testing for that camera. Let's see, I think we're getting to the end of it here. Next up, just a quick couple little accessories here. We have a lens hood for, let's see, a Kawa lens. That's interesting. Forget exactly what camera that fits, but that should be a pretty good one in the original leather case. Looks to be in nice shape. Next up, a little Cine Plepar 1.5 inch f3.5 lens. This is made in Germany, and this is for movie cameras of various sorts. D-mount most likely. Just kind of an oddball, probably a rebadged lens of some sort in the original box. Somebody will want that. Next up, an ADT funky camera here. This one actually has a good lens on it. That's the deal with these. These lenses are, first of all, They were used and then they're repurposed as camera lenses. This is a TV zoom, Sony TV zoom lens. And this was used on a variety of cameras back in the 1980s and 1990s, and they can still be used today with an adapter on modern cameras. If this one all tests out, I'll probably put a video segment in here at some point of me using this lens, because I do have an adapter that will allow it to work with my camera. But these tend to be pretty good. There's the original lens cap and all that. As for the camera bodies, I'll look this one up to be sure, because you just never know, but for the most part, those are throwaways for us. And last but not least, a big old Konica Hexanon set. That's really interesting, a big plastic case. I haven't seen one like this before. Let's see what's in here. If I remember correctly, not much. We have a inexpensive zoom lens. Not sure what that'll go for. If it sells at all, maybe 15 bucks. Best case, 15 bucks. Pretty much. And then we have the camera in here, which the camera's okay. Auto Reflex TC. If it all tests out, that'll be 35 bucks or something like that. The cool thing is the case. The case is actually the cool part here. This is a Konica branded case for these cameras. Never seen one like it before. Somebody will want that. Here's a Konica collector. Okay, well, that about sums up all of the testing. Like I said, on this sort of thing, it's very experimental and kind of fiddly and whatever, so it's not quite as easy to purvey on camera. Hopefully I wasn't too choppy and crazy, but I'm sure I edited it into a way that you can sort of watch it. Hopefully it wasn't too long either, because I know this was like 25 minutes of raw footage. Anyway, back to the vlog. Let's get some of this stuff listed. Now I'm on the Sony movie camera, or TV camera lens, on my Pentax Q here. As you can see, the in-body image stabilization actually does a reasonable job on the Pentax Q. And this lens is manual focus, I have to remember. But this had full zoom in right here, and it's looking pretty good. In summary, this lens here works pretty well. So let's get that pictured and listed. And then we have this lens on this camera. Just switch to there quickly and try it out. Okay, and here's that lens. As you can see, just kind of panning around the scene here. Pentax Q is pretty fancy because it has the built-in image stabilization. So for vintage lenses, you can actually do something with the footage. I'm not sure, it doesn't work 100%, but it works reasonably. This is the focus there that I'm working with there. As you can see, it goes in and out. And there's the aperture, which makes it lighter and darker. Seems to work pretty well. Kind of cool using these 1950s movie camera lenses on a modern camera. So sorry if the audio quality was bad on any of those. I'm not sure if I'm covering the microphones or not. They're either those two holes there, and I might be covering one of them, or it might be these up here. So I don't know. I haven't used this camera much. Okay, so just one lens listed there. I got some other stuff pictured and all that. Just this one right here. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end off the vlog for today. Make sure to stay tuned for another vlog tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Everything's in the wrong order. Noah out. Goodbye.